Hey, what's up? Michael, Seeking Heat, and it's the Speaking Heat Live Season 1 finale. Um, it's been really fun doing this thing every week and getting the opportunity to talk to a bunch of really cool people. And I don't understand how these people have said yes, and I'm really just elated and humbled that that this has kind of been becoming a thing, and tonight is no exception. We've got a great guest, somebody who I became acquainted with and kind of got to dig into his work. Super funny, and I'm really excited to talk to them. And let me see if we can get in CJ GUAVAIN. I'm going to wave to them right now. Hang on one second, CJ. We're coming. We're doing it. Did anyone who's watching, hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good week. It is, what day is it? Thursday? Here we go.
Hey,
CJ.
this is so cool. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, of course. How are you?
Doing really good. How about
Yeah,
yourself?
I'm good, man. Just doing the stuff.
Good. Yeah, I'm
W-
so stoked to talk about hot sauce with you, talk about whatever else you want. Like I love
Yeah.
comedy. I love what you've been doing. I love the fact that you talked to Dave Hill. He's super cool.
Yeah, no, he's great. I've kind of like been like back and forth with Dave. I had him on this other thing I was doing back when I was drinking. One thing I wanted to ask you, you're 5 years sober from alcohol, is that correct? Did I see
Actually,
that
yeah,
correctly?
more now. I have it
More?
posted somewhere that it's 5 years, but ever since September 2016.
That's
So it's
awesome.
been a while. Yeah. Yeah, just a lot more clarity. I just don't like who I am when I drink, so
Yeah,
it's better to just
same.
not do that.
Same. Yeah, no,
um,
no, no. I totally agree. Yeah, no, go ahead. You were going to say something.
oh no, yeah, I found personally not to get like too crazy deep, but it was just easier to hit the low lows of depression, you know. So it
Yeah.
definitely kind of kept you in that place, and it made it harder to come out. I felt, at least for me. So it was just much easier without it. Plus, I have Crohn's disease, and it was. I was literally eliminating so many things in my diet that it came to the point where I was like, if I can eliminate alcohol and it's going to make my life better, which it has in every way. So
Yeah, no,
it's
that's
worked out
great.
all around.
That's great. I'm sorry. I just realized I'm starting like heavy as fuck. I really apologize.
No,
Not
I mean,
normally.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't shy away from it. And what's funny is I was also, I mean, while we're already talking about it, I was going to bring up that like something I found in the hot sauce community, not only sobriety, like you've mentioned on past shows, but also there's a big like trauma community, honestly. Like I feel like hot sauce helps trauma. I feel like that experience you go through with hot sauce, it helps kind of normalize and kind of deal with trauma in a lot of ways. I feel because you're going through like a physical event, and then
Mhm.
the body always remembers. So
Yeah.
then you kind of you're easily accepting other like physical events. I feel,
Yeah. That's a
and I
really good
talked
way
about
of
it a
putting
lot
it.
on stage when the hot sauce was flowing.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way of putting it. I know when you got in touch with me, or when I got in touch, when you answered my, DM, which that's just how I operate. You mentioned that you do like hot sauce and that, you are a fan, and you've like, you've been to like hot sauce festivals and stuff like that. Have you done that? Have you done that circuit?
Well, sort of, yeah. Like mostly just like markets. I think like a lot. I just
Yeah,
like always like gravitate towards the hot sauce vendors at like farmers markets and things like that.
totally.
And
Yeah.
um, I did a show in Denver called Spicy Sets. It was a comedy hot sauce show. It was like a low key ripoff of Hot Ones. And but except we were just comedians doing sets, and we were spicing it up literally with hot wings during the sets. And one
Oh
thing that we
man.
noticed early on was, they can cut around a lot of the chewing on Hot Ones, and we didn't really have that opportunity for a live comedy show. Uh,
It's a good point. I never really thought about that. Yeah.
yeah, like chewing right into the mic.
Yeah. Depending
uh,
on who it is, it could be kind of grating.
Yeah, but I think everybody kind of found their own vibe with it, and early on we started really intense. We started with like 6 wings per set, so like
Oof.
every comic was just trying to slog through 6 wings, 6 different sauces, getting hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
Uh, and we realized that maybe 3 was the sweet spot. We could kind of do like they're all hot, but it was kind of like your average hot sauce, the next level up, and then the hottest we could find. And it was always fun. We got a lot of fun reactions. Some people didn't, they're stone faced. Other people were crying and cussing me out.
Oh my
Uh,
God. That's actually really fun. I like that. Yeah, there's something you mentioned something before, and I didn't mean to interject, but like the idea of like, getting through a traumatic kind of feeling and coming out of it, there is something very satisfying about that. And I think about it a lot, and it's kind of nice because yeah, drinking, causes trauma for yourself and other people around you sometimes. And I've experienced both of those things, and it sucks. And the other thing is like the hot sauce community and hot sauce in general, and I've said this before, it kind of reminds me of like craft beer, right?
yeah, it's so
Which is cool.
similar. It's a lot of
Yeah.
people pursuing their dreams. And
Yeah.
I found the similarities in stand up. Even one of the hot sauce companies was by a stand up comedian, Rick DeSimone.
Oh, that's
He has a
awesome.
company called Quarantine Project Hot Sauce out there, and
Oh, cool. I'm
he has a
making a
great
note of that.
product. And he's just a really cool guy. And he was actually one of our regular hot sauce sponsors for the show. Like he donated sauce to almost the most shows, like him
Oh,
and then
that's
this
so
other
cool.
guy, Sauce Leopard. They're amazing. They were on Hot Ones. That dude is cool as hell. He like has a metal band, and he
That's
just like got into hot sauce, and he has like this really cool company that makes really great sauce. And for a long time, his seventh Reaper sauce was like our hottest sauce.
You like
And
Reaper? Are you a Reaper fan?
only in that, it's
Yeah.
honestly the most palatable Reaper sauce that I've had, because I had a few other ones. Like Helloji makes a real intense one that I think
Yeah.
ruined some friendships when we had people on the show,
Yeah.
and I didn't know to warn them at first, and then I just kind of forgot. I'm just like, yeah, it's hot sauce, like hot ones, they're hot, and it takes
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
minutes to build the heat of the Reaper,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
and yeah, you see people going through it on stage. Like some people would bring plastic gloves. It was kind of a bit. They took it on. They'd bring Pepto Bismol and like have it on stage with them.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Pepto is a mainstay in this house, that's for sure. And I've been known to just kind of carry it around. Like I was at a hot sauce festival and I was just kind of holding it like it was a cocktail, and literally just swinging for. I mean, it really does help to you want to coat your stomach before you really dive in. Um, but I do want to talk to you about your work and your comedy, and I've
yeah.
kind of had the pleasure of watching some of your stand up, and
Oh,
you're
good.
really funny, man. I mean, you really
Oh,
are
no
very
way.
funny, and you have a really good like stage cadence and presence, and I don't know, I feel like you're very confident in your in your material, but you're also like a little bit self-deprecating, and I've always appreciated that as somebody who is also very self-deprecating. I make fun of myself more than anybody else. But no, I really like you. I have a couple of notes here when you talk about, well, your first line, which I love. Your name is CJ, and if you see a J,
I smoke it.
you
Yeah.
smoke it. Yeah, yeah, which I think is hilarious, right off the bat. And then one of the other things, you talk about country music, and this actually back to sobriety and how country music, literally every song is about drinking whiskey and beer, and you always wonder like what these guys are like, in their bedrooms with their spouses and partners, and they must be pretty shitty
It could be. Yeah. I'm
sometimes.
sure. I'm sure some of it is just, part of country is that like Americana nostalgia thing. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
a big part of America is drinking, especially with the celebration post prohibition. And then living in Boston, drinking is like the thing to do if you're an adult here.
oh yeah.
I remember growing up, everything was like 21 plus, and I was always so bitter before I was 21. And when I was 21, I was like, oh man, I gotta have all of it at once, and get out there and do all the events, and it's just a, yeah, it's a huge thing here. I think with country music and drinking, definitely. I like the whole connotation of the pickup truck, and like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
finished with the can, you crumple it up, you throw it in the back, because that's what God put the back of the truck there for.
Yeah, yeah, I
Because
think of
you'll see
that.
the um,
Ice cold beer, get in my truck, leave my mind up. It's always it's pickup trucks, F-150. I do like pickup trucks. People are always surprised because I am not that guy profile wise, but I have an affinity. I just really I don't know what it is. Maybe it's to make sort of compensate for my lack of like overt masculinity or something, but um whatever. But country music? What do you listen to? What do you like? I wanted to ask you that.
oh man, I'm all over the place. In recent years, I've really gravitated more towards like hip hop, but
Nice.
I grew up on rock, pop punk,
Yeah. You struck me
punk
as a
rock,
pop punk
post
kind
punk.
of punk guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of felt that from you too. Not only your love of the Boss Tones, which
Well,
I definitely go
Boston.
back into my childhood. Boston, yeah, they
Yeah.
play here every year.
Yeah.
Hometown Throwdown, them and
Oh my
the
God.
Dropkicks, obviously.
You've been to the
Um,
hometown throwdown?
no, no, I wish. No,
Well, they
it
broke
sells
up,
out
but
so quick. It's so hard,
yeah,
and there's so many bots and scalpers here. It's kind of part of the
yeah.
culture.
That
I
sucks. Yeah.
remember first U.S. tour for Arctic Monkeys. I spent the whole show outside trying to score tickets for the show at
Oh
the
my God.
Paradise because they were just so big and I loved them so much.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you could hear it kind of muffled, uh, but it's just a fun thing here. I love going to shows. I've definitely seen a lot of cool acts. Like I love Thundercat. He was the first act I saw, or the
I
last
saw
act I
that.
saw before like the lockdown and COVID. He
Oh
played for
wow.
like 2.5 hours in like the small theater in Denver when I was
Oh,
there,
that's
because
sick.
that's where I did most of my comedy. But now I'm living back in Boston where I
Right.
grew up.
Yeah, I saw Denver. What brought you to Denver when you were living? Like, what was the move there?
Well, what's crazy is, yeah, I met my wife here. She was in school, and then when she finished up her undergrad degree here, she actually kind of pivoted and decided to go into nursing. So she got into a nursing school down in Colorado, and that's where she called home,
Oh,
where
nice.
she grew up. So we got to move back there, be closer to her family, and she got to pursue nursing school. She was also a nurse there for a couple of years, and
Oh,
then
that's great.
we ended up getting drawn back here because she just fell in love with Boston when she was here for school. It's obviously where I'm from, and I love it. I
Yeah,
never, and part of me wanted to leave just to know how much I appreciate it fully. And I still love Denver, and Denver also is like a second home in my heart. But
nice.
Boston will always come first.
I got to say,
Um,
Boston. I've been to the hometown throwdown so many times, and like
oh
I've
no
had
way!
the yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen the Boston's probably, I mean, definitely over 100 times, but
That's
yeah,
so cool.
but I really do love Boston. I hate the Red Sox, but I really do love I do love I really think that Boston is I mean it's certainly one of my favorite cities. I'm kind of close to it. I think you know that I'm in Connecticut, but we took a trip to Boston recently with my 8-year-old, and it was just really it's a nice city. It's and it's small and it's walkable and the food's good, and I don't know, I like the vibe over there a lot. I really do.
Oh, me too. I love just walking through the common. Like it's something I
Yeah.
try to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why I even just work in the city. So that way if there's issues with the train, I can like just hop out, walk through the common, walk through other parks and just enjoy nature, or at least the nature that we've cultivated in the city.
It's nice though. No, the parks there are great and they're clean and like I don't know. Boston's a great city. It definitely has a place in my heart for sure. And I thank the Boston's for that. But
That's so cool. I'm glad that you could fall in love with the city through a band. Like I feel like
truly.
I'll feel that way, and I do feel that way a little bit about Minneapolis, but also New York and Brooklyn by extent through like the Hold Steady because they're one of my favorite
Oh,
bands.
dude. Oh
And
yeah.
oh
Hell
man, and
yeah.
I had a feeling you might be part of the Hold Steady family too, just with your
I
general interests.
I love the Hold Steady, and actually, ironically enough, I had uh what's his name? Their keyboardist, multi instrumentalist on my
No
last show.
way.
Yeah,
Nikolai?
Franz Nikolai. Yeah, and
Franz Nikolai. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh my God, he's so cool. He seems like such a unique like character and like a really
yeah.
interesting, neat person.
No, totally. He's like a like an American gypsy or something. He's really interesting and like I told him that Chill Out 10. That song Chill Out 10. And there's a piano riff on that where it's like dun, 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 dun. And I hear that and
Oh
I
no.
actually get chills thinking about it and I told him I was like that piece,
Looks
that
like it's cutting out a
phrase,
little bit. I'm getting a little bit of a storm. I don't know if that's
shit.
affecting.
Let me see. Oh, I see paused. Is it better? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're both pausing. I wasn't sure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
no, my
hear you
wife.
now. Oh,
Okay.
there it is.
Sorry about that. No, but I was saying that I was telling Franz Nikolai that there's a part in Chill Out Tent by Hold Steady that has this piano part, and it's like dun 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 dun, and that phrase is I don't know, something about it is like very warm in my heart, and I told him and like I was very nervous because it's so weird, but I don't know, but it was amazing, and I love that band and I love that record. Yeah, no, Hold Steady's great. I'm from New York originally, so I
Oh,
spent
cool.
yeah, like I lived in Queens, Brooklyn for like a decade, and I miss it a lot. But I get to go out for shows and stuff. Have you spent time there? Have you done shows there? Like
No, but I'd love to. Oh my God. I
yeah,
actually have some friends living out there now.
nice,
But I did go to the Brooklyn Bowl for a weekender like years ago. And it was amazing. It was so cool to see them in their environment.
massive
With like,
nights. Is that what they call it?
oh
Massive
yeah,
nights.
massive nights. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
It was
doing
several
it
years
this
back,
year.
but
They've
oh
been
no
doing.
way. They're
Yeah, they
back
just
there.
announced it.
Oh, sweet.
They're doing like an album themed thing or something. I want to go. It's been a while since I've seen them. But no, they're so good. I love that you mentioned them. I do have a special love of that band. And a lot of drinking when I used to see them for sure. But I
Well,
feel
yeah.
like
Drinking and friendship. I feel like a lot of their songs, and then like
yeah.
the whole biblical allegories told through drug culture thing, which I always thought was very interesting.
I feel like the singer is I think he's sober now, I'm pretty sure. And I've seen him
Oh, that's great.
jogging in Brooklyn. I've seen him jogging in Brooklyn like three times in the last couple of years. He seems like he's
That's
on
so
a
cool.
different path now. Yeah, no, I think it's pretty sweet. But some music and is that part of like what got you into stand up? What got you into comedy? I mean, obviously performing is
Oh yeah.
music adjacent and I think there's something similar with comedy and music, especially when you perform it. But what was the sort of catalyst for comedy
It's a
for
lot
you?
of things. I mean, I my dad was a musician, so performing is always something I've been kind of interested in.
Yeah.
And well, my dad is a musician. He still is a musician. um,
Once a
and
musician, always a musician. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah,
he
yeah.
had like a cover band in the '90s and he played like all the hits that were like in our living room. It felt like a very
Oh, that's
foundational
great.
memory for me.
Yeah,
And then I was a little bit of a performer in high school. I did poetry, I did plays and stuff like that. And then in college, I did radio.
nice.
After college, I did trivia. And I feel like these were all kind of like stepping stones for me to feel comfortable enough to get on stage to do comedy because
Yeah,
I just grew up small TV in my room watching Comedy Central like every night, like Comedy Central presents,
yeah.
HBO whenever I could sneak away and watch it.
Conan?
Um,
Were you a Conan fan?
Conan, yeah, oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
Conan, Jay Leno to an extent, but only just
yeah.
because it was before Conan.
I like Jay Leno. Yeah. No,
uh,
I love Letterman, but like I did watch Jay Leno for that reason. Yeah.
Letterman has way like as an adult, I appreciate Letterman's humor way more, and especially
Yeah.
like the foundational nature of him at the Comedy Store and things like that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just such a huge comedy nerd. Like, I aspire to be like Cliff Nesteroff level someday. Like, I think that would be
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
But or I mean, obviously in comedy, I'd rather be like you know a different level for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But
No, no,
and
you're
I
you're getting there. I mean, it takes
no
work and
way.
you're
Thank
you're
you.
working.
No.
No, man. I mean, I see.
you're performing and you're avid and you're doing it, and I think that's great. I it takes a lot of guts to get up there. I mean, I think it takes far more guts to be a comedian than it does to be a musician. I think that there's so much more room for discomfort probably, and the silence factor. You don't really get that in music. I've been in bands
Oh,
my whole
totally.
life, and I've played music. And I don't really like perform. I'm not in a band now, but like because I have children and that, it's just a different life. But I can't imagine what it feels like to be on stage doing comedy and responding to an audience. And from what I've seen of you, you really, I mean, you have your approach seems to work. You laugh at yourself, and I think that that's a
That's
really
deep.
good quality in someone. No, I think it's not because it affects the audience. I just think that
Oh yeah.
it to me it shows confidence, I think. And yeah, I know. But I did want to kind of find out what comedians did you sort of gravitate toward as a kid, and but I guess we kind of answered that. But like, was it films too? Were you really into comedies and like Animal
Oh
House and
yeah.
things like that? I don't know.
Absolutely. Like, well, back to comedians a little bit. Mitch Hedberg, obviously foundational
Yeah,
for me. Even as a child, I could see that he was different, and I
yeah,
could see his approach and his way of thinking really mirrored kind of how I think, or
yeah,
at least thought at that age. Um, and then coming to learn that they really kind of cut that original special together and everything. But seeing him too, as a kid, like I saw him when I was like 18 or 19 at the Orpheum here in Boston,
oh
and
wow,
uh, it was fantastic to see somebody like that at that level. He was definitely in it at the time, and he had a hard time even standing up on stage, which I thought was which I just didn't know. I
yeah,
knew
you
like
couldn't tell sometimes. Yeah,
I yeah and I think I had an idea, and I thought it was all just part of it. And I
yeah.
think back then it kind of seemed like it was part of it. Him and like Greg Giraldo and
I was just
and
gonna
other
say Greg
Brits.
Giraldo. I was just
Um,
yeah, yeah,
oh, he was I admire him so much, and
yeah.
just watching him, or like Patrice O'Neill, and
Yep. I saw
um,
all those guys at the Comedy Cellar in like the early
no
aughts.
way,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
that's so cool.
Greg Giraldo, Mark Maron,
I love him. Yeah.
all those guys. And, I actually just got a little chill in my leg because I remember, have you been to the Comedy Cellar in New York?
No, I've actually never been to the cellar. I'd
Oh,
love to check it out.
yeah.
It's so cool. It's honestly, as a comedian, it's intimidating for sure. Even just
Yeah,
going there, but I want to go and just see how it just sounds so cool. Like even like watching on TV, watching on YouTube and whatnot. It just
the
seems like such a fun
drop-ins and
place, and yeah, there's
I
so many cool people. Just
it's crazy.
even just getting to see Josh Johnson there like 10 years ago would have been amazing. Like
Yeah.
now it's so cool what he's doing and everything. And the comedians of comedy were a huge inspiration. I saw them here in Boston. Patton Oswalt, Maria Bamford. They
Uh,
were with Eugene Merman at the time and Brian Posehn, who I love.
Merman's great. Yeah, no, Eugene
Um,
Merman, sort of Dave Hill adjacent, like
yeah,
that
yeah,
whole crew.
they're so cool. And actually, Merman married me and my ex on stage for a bit. He like handed us both these sheets of paper. He brought us up there. I think I was wearing like a Flight of the Concord short or something. I don't know if that helped, but we were right in front, and he grabbed us and like fake married us on stage and made it part of this bit. It was so cool, and
I
that was the
love
first
that.
time I saw like that, and I've been kind of trying to get to that ever since, like as a performer. So
Yeah. No, yeah, Eugene Merman, I remember that was a big I remember watching his like self-recorded videos that he used to do, and friends of mine like showed me him, and I yeah, that stuff like him, Stella, even
Stella, oh my God,
yeah, and like
Michael Ian
early
Black,
Aziz
Michael Shaw
Ansari
too.
with Aziz Ansari, Rob Hubel, that stuff. My brother and
Oh my
I
God,
like,
Human Giant. Yeah,
yeah, exactly, yeah,
that H. John Benjamin sketch where he's John McClane. Oh my God, I love that so
yeah,
much.
Shutterbugs was one of my favorites of all time. And then they did I don't know if you've ever seen the one where they're like working at Other Music in Manhattan, and they're like really pretentious record store employees. if you haven't seen it,
Oh, no way.
it's so good.
I have to.
It's
I've got to see it.
watch it and then like
I was one of those employees, so
yeah,
I know.
yeah, no, we all were at some point. Yeah, no.
Yeah, right.
It's so good. I mean, I don't want to ruin any of it for you, but once you watch it, let's talk and like go. There are just lines in it that my brother and I are very like sort of Tourette's, where we just quote movies out of nowhere all the time, and we
Oh,
also
perfect.
quote stuff from those, you know. Um, but yeah, I that whole era of comedy is so good, and I all those guys are doing great. I mean, it's pretty wild how far they've come. So think about that, and then let's
Oh yeah.
relate it to you.
Well,
And I
movies. I mean, I love movies. Movies are foundational for me too. That's really where
yeah,
my love of comedy probably truly blossomed there, plus stand up. But like Chris Farley was huge to me as a kid. I loved Tommy
yeah.
Boy. I loved
Oh
Black
my God,
Sheep. Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore, and
did you see
Billy
Happy Gilmore
Madison.
2? Did you watch Happy Gilmore
Yeah,
2
I
yet?
did.
I haven't seen it yet.
I saw the original in theaters with my dad, so I really liked the kind of fatherly aspect of the second one and how he was trying to be a
Okay.
better dad.
I'm gonna pause you
But
right there.
I'm not gonna
You,
ruin it. Yeah.
you mentioned your dad. Sorry, you have me very excited because I feel like we're very like-minded, and I just want to jump in and like.
Yeah. Oh, please.
But
Yeah. I love a real conversation. So yeah, anywhere you want to take it, I'm here.
no, no. Well, you mentioned your dad, and I haven't seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet because my dad lives in Florida. My brother lives in Westchester County, so I see him often. But we're all waiting to watch it for when my dad flies up to New York in about a week. So we're gonna watch it together because
I
we
love
Happy
that.
Gilmore is such a bonding experience for the three of us. So I'm really excited to see it, and the fact that you say it's good makes me even more excited.
It is good. I feel like people are being very overly critical about it for sure.
Yeah,
But for a Netflix Adam Sandler movie, it's definitely the best in my opinion. From the
yeah,
ones that have been out there, I did like Hubie Halloween. I haven't really given it a rewatch, but I imagine that I'll watch it like regularly around the Halloween season because I love Halloween. I was
yeah.
born in Salem originally,
Oh
so
wow. Oh, do you like
uh,
horror? Are you a horror movie fan?
oh yeah, yeah. I got into horror really young. I was watching, excuse me, like cable TV versions, but then real versions of like Jason and Freddy
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
uh, all mostly a Nightmare on Elm Street, I think. And it was because I think it was because I leaned into it because you got to like face your fears, and I was so afraid of him just like coming after me in my dreams, you know.
yeah, yeah. I still am
I gotta watch them
actually.
all, so it doesn't have any power over me. Or Chucky, little dolls are creepy as hell. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a thing in our household. We won't see any of those movies because my wife loves horror too. But
Oh
we'll try
yeah,
and
no,
stay
so
away
does
from
mine.
that.
Yeah, so does
Um,
mine. It's a nice thing to have a partner that well, A likes the same things, but my ex didn't like horror, so I missed out on so much of it, and now I'm like catching up, and we've not right now. We have a 4 month old, so we haven't been going to the movies, but we would see every new horror movie in the theater, which
oh
is so
yeah,
much fun.
I have a real urge to see Weapons right
I was
now, but we're also trying to see Freakier Friday.
We're yeah,
So
we're on the same level. I was just gonna say Weapons. I'm dying to see it because everybody
me
says it's
too.
amazing.
I
I
love
don't.
Zach Kreger's turn as a horror director from doing Whitest Kids You Know to this. It's like so
Yeah.
cool. I was a huge fan of that. And I'm an even bigger fan or just as much of a fan of these movies. Like Barbarian was so cool, such a
Oh my
good
God.
take.
Yeah. It
And
was really good, and the
it
twist
makes me
in that
afraid of
was
Airbnbs now.
yeah, yeah. It also makes me like very protective of like my wife staying in an Airbnb without me because I'm like, what if
Yeah,
there's fucking cameras? You don't like.
yeah.
Why doesn't
I've
anybody
always been
question
worried
that?
about that, but the whole other turn of like a secret, sub basement with
Yeah.
like people, like creepy people living in there and
Yeah.
just coming up and murdering whenever, like, oh my
No,
God.
yeah. It's what a wild film, and then like the Justin Long twist, like where what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was so it was just so weird and well done and bizarre. But I've heard that Weapons has some like comedy elements to it as well, which I think is really cool because you don't. I mean, you see it in horror, but it's never really done well, you know.
Oh,
Um,
totally.
I really need I don't know. We need to get a babysitter. We need to see Weapons because everybody I meet says it's great.
I hear it's a theatrical experience for sure. One of my friends that we all joke that he's like the hardest critic ever, that he'd give like Godfather 4 stars out of 5, you know?
Yeah,
And that's what he gave Weapons. He gave it 4 out of. He's like, I loved it. You got to see it in the theater, but he's like four out
but
of five.
four out of
And I'm
five.
like, are you kidding me?
You dick. Yeah.
But I got to see
No.
it so that way I can be like, okay, I can see, but maybe. I mean, I bet it's pretty great.
Well, somebody said to me the other day, I forgot who it was. I talked to so many people because I'm in sales and I forget, but they said that being in the theater is part of the experience because the reactions of everybody you sort of play on other people because there are
Yeah,
moments of the film that apparently are just so gripping and awkward and like silence and things. So it just sounds really different and very sort of like left of the dial. I'm excited to see it. I don't know. I'm part of me is like, should I just go and see it alone? But I would feel very guilty if I did
I
that.
do that once in a while. It's not bad. First time I recall doing it and like having a perfect experience was seeing the movie Bronson in theaters with Tom Hardy. I just had
I
the day
haven't seen
off.
that.
It was playing. I really needed to see it. I went
Bro.
to the Landmark here, the
Okay.
indie theater, and saw it.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, it was just such a cool like. It was so immersive, just seeing a
Yeah,
movie alone sometimes.
it is
Um,
nice. Yeah, no, I saw Terrifier 3 by myself for the
oh,
second time.
cool!
Yeah,
That's
which
so
is great.
funny. One of the funniest movie going experiences I've ever had was actually seeing Dodgeball a second time, the movie Dodgeball in
Yeah,
theaters.
yeah, yeah.
I laughed
That's a great
so
one.
hard that my foot slipped. Like I was like, slapping my knee, and my foot slipped and I kicked the lady in front of me by accident. I kicked her chair. And it was back like before we had recliners in movie theaters. So they were like pseudo like airplane rockers,
Stiff.
you could lean back that little bit. And
Yeah.
she just flew forward and her popcorn went flying everywhere and her boyfriend like turned around like ready to fight and I was like I couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing at the scene in the movie so hard where I
Good.
kicked it and then I was like laughing so hard at that and I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry, lady, like.
I mean,
But
that's comedy though. It's
and
great. I
that's
mean, you
comedy,
laugh at
yeah,
it.
and like you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that experience in the theater and it's like you play
yeah.
off those reactions and a comedy and a horror have that same thing where it's like somebody laugh at something you might not laugh at but then it makes you see it funny, or you're the one who's laughing at the weird thing, and then other people are like, "Oh, I see where they're at," and it's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
No, you should laugh at that. We were at, oh, actually, speaking of the movie theater, I proposed to my wife at the movie theater. We saw Love Actually. She had never seen it. So I was like, we got to
That's
go and
so
see Love
cute.
Actually. It's like Christmas time. It's so cheesy and fun, and I actually really do love it. But, I'm also an AMC Stubs A-list member. I don't know if you
Oh
have
yeah,
that over there. Yeah, it's great. What
no, I
benefits are
don't. But
great.
if I subscribe, I get it. I actually had Movie Pass back in the day, and it
Nice.
reminds me, it's like the perfect version of that because I'd be using it at AMC anyway,
Yeah.
uh, and it was so cool to just be able to go whenever I wanted, not have to worry,
Cut the
and see
concessions line.
something,
Yeah.
and yeah, the concessions bonus is sick. I had a
Yeah.
subscription thing when I was in Denver for Cinemark because I lived near
Yeah.
there, and that was cool getting the perk on that. And then yeah, I just bank the free tickets every month, and then whenever I wanted to go, I just buy the tickets for me and friends, and we'd go, and it was really cool. It was a good experience
Cinemark.
and a nice
The
excuse to get out.
I don't utilize it enough. My daughter, I mean, we see every movie with my 8-year-old. She loves going to the theater, so I see
That's so
every kid
cool.
kid movie. Yeah, it's great. It's like such a fun night out. It's such an event for her. I was gonna say, excuse me, Cinemark's popcorn is better than AMC's popcorn. I've come to realize. I saw the Turnstile movie at a Cinemark recently, and I always get a large popcorn. I'll kill a whole large. I don't know about you, but
Oh, I
the
could, yeah, any size popcorn, I'll take it down for
I
sure.
yeah, we love popcorn in this house. Do you do candy as well? If so, what is your
Oh yeah.
choice? What where you
Um,
would?
I can't have gluten, so that rules some
Oh,
stuff out.
that's like
It
my
has
wife. Yeah,
Yeah, it's part of the
it's
Crohn's complication for me. Like I don't have an allergy, but
shit.
it does mess things up. But
Yeah,
a bunch of crunch I found is good.
nice.
Raisinets, classic.
Yeah,
Snowcaps, classic. Those
milk
are
duds,
those are what I
milk
go
duds.
back to. I don't do them a lot, but I do appreciate a milk dud now and again. That's
Yeah,
like a Halloween candy for me. I like it in
yeah,
small doses. Like I like a snack size or whatever.
yeah. They're good in the fridge.
Reese's.
Reese's, yeah, yeah. Reese's is a good call. Actually, I wanna kind of reveal that this is something I was always kind of like shy about, but junior mints and popcorn.
Yes, Junior mints are awesome. It's a perfect
Yeah,
movie snack. And
never,
that's sweet and
never.
salty with the Junior mint too, and it's just
It's
another level.
It's like
It unlocks
earthy
something.
and bright. I've it's like my new go-to. It's my new like Romeo and Juliet, you know?
It's like Mr. Pibb and Red Vines from the Lonely Island.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, which I tried. I was like, this is pretty good. You know, red vines are interesting. I'm a big candy guy. I'm very critical of candy, you
Oh,
know.
totally. I worked at a video store for a little while, and we sold like all the movie theater size candies, and we
The
had these like
boxes.
bundle packs we had to sell and
Nice.
stuff. And I got really into that. Yeah, I was a Hollywood video guy. It was like my first real job. I had the
That's
purple,
great.
button down and everything.
Do you still have it? Do you have it still? Because
Oh no,
that
I
would be kind of
wish.
sick.
Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, no. Moving away from here, I got rid of a ton of stuff that I was like hoarding, and and then when we moved back from Denver, I got rid of everything that I had there. Like, it's kind of nice to clean the slate a little bit,
Yeah.
and get rid of a lot. But it would be cool if I still had that. It definitely has a special place in my heart. Like, I'm still in touch with some of the people I worked with there.
Yeah.
We've all gone on to bigger and better things, but we all have that bond. We like we worked at the video store before they went away completely.
Yeah, I never worked at a video store, but like I always thought it was very cool, and I had a really good friend that worked at Blockbuster, and honestly, like that was kind of exhilarating, you know?
It was always good
Uh,
to hook up your friends too with the free rentals or whatever,
yeah,
or to just be the one that had it, before like the day or week before it came out and be like, oh, let's watch this. I have it, it comes out next week. It was just in the theater.
yeah,
It's so cool to have that. And I just like the experience of going there. Like growing up, I would always go to Blockbuster, rent a video game, rent a couple movies for the
go to
weekend,
the horror room, you know, like the little
Oh
rooms they had.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
be deep in the horror, be like, what haven't I seen yet?
I
What
always
what
wanted
have
to
I
go into
heard about that I haven't seen?
the porn room across, but I was always with my parents, so I didn't do that. But
No.
the horror room. I spent many a Friday night, you know, lonesome, and then I
Oh yeah.
gravitated toward like the foreign section when I was into like you know French New Wave and like cerebral like indie films, you know,
Oh
um,
yeah, or anything Criterion. You just you
anything,
gravitate towards that just because it's
literally,
Criterion.
literally
Yeah.
anything Criterion. I want to think, I want to get sad, I want
Yeah,
to
totally.
ponder mortality, you know, through the French language or whatever. Are you a physical media guy? Do you romanticize about that?
Oh yeah, before we moved away from here to Colorado, I got rid of like a massive DVD collection that I had since working at
I did the
the
same
video
thing.
store. And I
I
think
did
my
the same thing.
sister and my brother-in-law actually have most of it. So they
That's
kept the
great.
gems for sure.
That's great. I had so
But
much Criterion and I sold it
oh
all, and
yeah.
I really regret that. It's one of my biggest regrets. CDs and all of the mostly the films though. You know, the
Yeah.
Criterion, I like the amount of stuff I had, and I just bought a VCR DVD player. So like
Oh
now
no
I'm on
way.
eBay. Yeah, no, it was sort of,
Old
I was
school.
inspired. You should check out this they're called Tapes from the Crypt. They're based in New Jersey. I met them at a hot sauce festival in Philly, and this guy, he just he like they like re-released VHS tapes and they sell them on their website. And like they were there, and I don't know, like I got inspired. I was like, I want to start getting VHS like horror, you know, and
Yeah.
it's fun.
It's a
It's
different
fun.
feel.
No, it definitely is, and like the graininess, and like I don't know, like so we watched a bunch, and now I'm on eBay like every other night, you know, spending money on
Oh
fucking
no. It's like a new addiction.
no,
Uh,
it really is, and actually it's a good point. There are, you know, since getting sober, there are so many sort of outlets now that I have
oh yeah.
that can be quite dangerous, and hot sauce is definitely one of them. Now I'm at the point where, like, fortunately, you know, and I'm not to brag, but people send me sauce, so that's good. But I was spending a lot of money on like hot sauce, shotgun, like, you know, purchases. Do you do that as well? Do you have like sort of like these new addictions that you're not like proud of, or like that are problematic, you think?
Honestly, lately not really.
Bless you.
I
That's good.
do. I actually have a need for hot sauce. I was hoping coming on here I could somehow get more, but I was just getting it
If
so
it,
frequently and like
yeah,
trying to source it so frequently for my hot sauce show in Denver, that I just always had a ton of it around. And right now I have less. Um, but
I have
I,
so much. I'll send you some. Seriously, I
Thank you.
much to the chagrin of my lovely and amazing wife, my our pantry has a whole top level now, and then our refrigerator, the whole top shelf is like it's just too much, you know. And I feel like it's a lot, and it grows. So I absolutely will send you some.
Nice. Well, yeah, yeah. I just got so used to getting it from the show, I just never bought it, and now I feel like I'm in almost like a hot sauce desert here in Quincy, Massachusetts. Like the grocery stores don't have it as much. And when I was
Yeah,
in Colorado, there were so many local brands, and like all the grocery stores had different ones, and it was cool to like track them down. But I think if I
yeah.
look hard enough, I'll find some good stuff. But also, my mom has a ton of hot sauce. Like my family has
Oh,
just always been into peppers and hot sauces, and
that's
we
awesome.
actually did like a mini hot ones like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas celebration once. We actually had all the wings, we had all the sauces, and we tried
I
them all. And
love your
uh,
parents. I don't know your
yeah,
parents, but I love that.
it was cool. It was like a multi. It was like we had uncles involved. We had people who married into the family, siblings,
Sounds
significant
like you
others.
have
It
like
was
a
it was a
really
good time.
wonderful family. You know, that's
It's part of
yeah,
why I'm here. Yeah, I moved back because my little sister had a kid, and it takes a village. So I wanted to be part of that village and be there for my
yeah.
niece. And I'm
That's
really
so nice.
excited to get more time with my family living here, and we try to see each other as much as we can. I just went to a nice family barbecue last weekend on the North Shore
Nice.
here, and it's just refreshing. It really reminds you what matters,
Yeah.
and to take care of the people in your community and in your life, and it's really cool.
I totally agree. And the older I get, my uncle always says, you know, he's sort of like, you know, he's funny, but he's a very big personality. But he's like, you know, your family is always your family. Your friends come and go, but your family is the most important. And you know, the older I get, not that I don't value my friends, but you know, it's true. And whether it's on my side or my you know my partner's side, it's you know it's so crucial. And I imagine your family has been very supportive of you know, kind of doing the arts and things. I mean, I it seems like a
Yeah.
rhetorical question, judging by what I've heard so far, but
Oh, absolutely. They're creative people. My mom owns a crystal shop. It's like one of the coolest things I get to tell people. Like, she's kind of witchy.
yeah, yeah.
And, part of it, I think, comes from her and my dad kind of growing up in Catholicism here. And then they were just like, what's the opposite of Catholicism? Witches, so,
Trial and
uh,
error. Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, we're like a big, gemstone family and stuff like that.
I
Um,
love that.
and it's just really cool, and it reminds you, the earth is important and stuff, and
Yeah,
that's the place to worship. It's just like worship the earth and take care of the earth, and I try to be
I like that.
sustainable, and I try to get into nature as much as I can. That's why I love walking through the common and stuff, because it's like the closest to actually going into the woods that I get, being here. But sometimes we do that too. We go camping, we go hiking, I like reconnecting with nature, and that's a big thing in Colorado. A lot of people are super, nature focused, and there's so many
Yeah.
like beautiful, pristine areas to check out down there. And I'm really glad I got the opportunity to see a lot of it. And we actually got married in, one of the most beautiful places in Colorado, and right near the Stanley Hotel, and it was so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's just it's just amazing. I love nature. I love animals. Like I got two cats. I heard you're a cat dad as well.
We have
So
two cats. Yeah, I inherited, but I never was a cat person until I really fell in love with these little ladies. And they're you know I had a dog for a while. My daughter still you know lives with that dog half the time. But cats are they're really something different and kind of quirky and you know very
oh,
cerebral.
totally.
You know, yeah. They're interesting, kind of bitchy too at times, and weird, standoffish, you know. But I do like them now, and I'm definitely more of a cat person now for sure.
Oh, me too. I've got a 17-year-old cat, and I got him when he was 2. So we
Oh
we
my
go
God.
way back. Yeah, his name's Argyle. I named him after the limo driver in Die Hard. Uh, one of my favorite all-time film characters. He's just so cool. He's just like, oh yeah, you go in there, I'll hang out. So I try to bring
Chauffeur.
that into my adult life. Be a little Argyle
That
every day.
that's really funny. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or is it not? What's your
For
stance?
me, it is.
Yeah.
It takes place mostly on Christmas. If you think about it, they're having their, their party, their corporate party at like 8 p.m. At Nakatomi Plaza, and then shit goes down. They're stuck there all night. It's mostly Christmas.
Yeah,
There's Christmas stuff going on. You know, he's trying to get home to his kids for Christmas and everything. And I like the little subtle nods. And just Christmas in Hollis is one of my favorite Christmas songs. So it's really cool that they use that. And I don't even know if I'd know about it if it wasn't for that, because that movie's just so pivotal. It goes way back. Like my uncle and I, we have to watch it every year on Christmas Eve, and we involve the whole family at this point. So we all
that's
watch
great.
it. I think a lot of them, you know, just hang out and eat snacks and and partake from our. But me and him were like quoting the lines back and forth and everything, because he's only a few years older than me, so we're basically brothers, you know.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and it's real cool.
Oh, that's great. The more I hear about your family, it sounds like you guys have a lot of fun. It's pretty great.
Yeah, we try to, you know, we just try to
Yeah,
enjoy life,
yeah,
and that's really part of it, and that's part of being a performer and being creative, and I really try to indulge that part as much as I can. Like these days I work like a retail job during the day, and I'm performing for my coworkers a lot, and
that's
some of them
great.
enjoy it, I think, where they're being really
Yeah,
nice probably, but every once in a while I'll dust off some old bits and they'll get a kick out of it, or I'll just riff on something
it's a
silly. And
test audience. I
yeah.
think that's great. That's like
It
smart to
really,
do.
that's what it is for me. It's part of why I do it. It gives me a good schedule to be able to go out and hit mics when I can, go out do
Yeah,
shows if possible, um, and you know, test stuff out, and be able to have those experiences to relate to and to bring to other people and have silly stories about like weird customer interactions, or just the vibe that people bring in, like weird little couple fights that'll happen at the register where you're like, why am I involved
commiserate.
in this? And it's like,
Yeah,
am I involved in this for your benefit? Is this going to be brought up later, like in the bedroom, perhaps? Like what's going on here?
yeah, yeah.
You're involved in these like funky dynamics and stuff, or like people trying on way too many shoes. You're like, do you want me to touch your feet? Is that the goal here? Because I'm not going to do it, you
The
know?
answer is
Uh,
yes, yes, I do. Yeah,
oh,
please.
yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
did discover there was a guy who came in like every weekend. He tried on like 8 different pairs of shoes that he would
feet.
never buy. And he would be like, do you have one of those, like, you know, those like old school metal things that like measures the size of your foot? I'm like, you're a 48-year-old man at least. Like, you're at least, you're probably in
Yeah.
your 60s
Do
and you look
adults
good.
use do adults use those things?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
why do you need me to measure your foot, dude? Like,
And
you
like
don't. What shoes are you wearing now?
the
Like, what
little.
size are those? Let's start there. I'll give you a few sizes.
I'm guilty
Like,
of that. I think it's just neuroses, but I that's real. That reminds me of I was at DSW and I did ask the one of the gentlemen that worked there for that mechanism, and he looked at me like you probably looked at this guy like, what the fuck are you like
exactly.
you're
And I think
you're in your
sometimes
late 30s.
it probably comes off that way, and I feel bad. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to give you the best customer service experience I can give you, dude. But you're
But it's the
also
same
throwing
as
up
it
some red
was.
flags.
It's the same as it was last time that you've got
Yeah,
shoes. Yeah,
exactly. Last time you
yeah.
bought shoes, which probably was a year or less ago, if you're
Judging
buying
by
shoes at a regular cadence, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It reminds me. That reminds. I used to work for an underwear company in my early 20s. My
oh no.
yeah, called Fresh Pair, and it
Was
was
it like a subscription based thing?
no, no, that didn't really exist at that time. It was more. This was like close to 20 years ago, and it was more of it was unisex. I don't even that word I don't like, but it was men's and women's underwear, bras, panties. I don't like that word either. We had things that were called like
That's what
sassy
you sold.
knits. It's true. Shapewear like kind of came out at that
Oh,
point.
interesting.
So I spent, and
Yeah,
this
it's a
was when
huge
people,
market.
yeah, no, especially then, this is when people called in to place orders. So we had very horny men and women calling in so that they can hear us all talk about like, these things. And I remember one time this gentleman called and he was very like quiet, hushed voice and like sort of asking me about like what do I'm looking for something that's sort of like minimalist and so I'm kind of getting into it because I was professional and I was doing my job and my boss was standing kind of close by. So I'm getting into it and then all of a sudden I hear, what are you doing? What are you look at you? What are you doing? You are disgusting. It was seemingly this person's mother yelling at him
Yes.
because he was like, "Look at you! What? Like you're just." And I so in my mind, this person was whatever enjoying himself. And this happened multiple times, and it was just my life at the time, and I had a lot of good stories to tell at parties, and yeah, so it's uncomfortable, and people still, I guess, do that at shoe stores now because feet are a thing.
Yeah, they're like more a thing. Yeah, there was like a couple in my store recently where they were like trying on shoes, and the like husband or whatever mentioned like, oh, don't give those away for free or whatever, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I was like, this probably isn't the audience for that. Maybe it would be a more specific shoe store if someone was more into it. I don't know, but
You
just
did a show called Comedy and Kink that sounded really fun.
oh
Can you
yeah,
can you tell me about that and
my
kind of how
friend
that happened?
Yeah, my friend Chris Wellman actually runs that in Denver. He runs like a series of kinky shows.
Okay.
Um, and that's one of them. He also does the Naked Show, which I
Whoa.
also did. You're on stage completely naked. You can wear
Whoa.
articles of clothing, but I guess, part of being naked, you got to show the downstairs a little bit.
Oh my God.
And I did it with a hoodie tied around my waist. It was uh,
That's like a nightmare that I used to have. Like
it
going to
is.
school
Yeah.
with like a hoodie
It's
trying to like cover.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was weird because it was both a dream and a nightmare. It was a dream to be able to be that confident and
Yeah.
get up there. And I also had some friends on the show. My buddy Emil, who I ran a show at a weed lounge in Denver called Potty Mouths, and I ran a show with him. So we were both actually booked on the Naked Show together, back to back.
Wow.
And it was really fun to be able to do that. And a buddy of mine, Chet, was also on it, and it was cool to have friends there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that helped a lot. I think the comedy community is actually a big part of comedy, and I think it's something that you don't really realize is there, and unless you're in it,
Yeah.
and we all like help each other in a way. We give each other tags. We tell each other maybe stuff that isn't working. We give each other shit that'll eventually become jokes. We share bits with and about each other generally, or punch things up a little bit, and it's a fun part of comedy that I love, and part of it is booking each other on each other's shows, and I got to do the Naked Show, Dream and a Nightmare. I did the Comedy and Kink show. I got to spank the host at the end of the show, which was kind of
Nice.
fun. With all of these, it was like caning. So we tried all these different size implements, and there was like,
Was it
um,
a bare ass like spank? Like sort
he
of
was
a.
wearing leather chaps.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it could have went either way.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
also does another show called the Naughty Show where he has people tied up. I didn't get to do that one, but I thought that was kind of cool. Where they're doing like an active like tie demonstration behind the comic, and then the comics usually turn
Whoa.
around and like commenting on it because they're unfamiliar with that, and it's so cool, and it's such beautiful pictures come out of these shows too. They get such great artists to take the
Oh, I
pictures,
bet. That's
um,
amazing.
and it's just such fun performances because the audience is in on it. The Naked Show, most of the audience was naked. I
Whoa.
assumed it was the case because it was a deal they worked out with the theater that they had, and people came in real early because it was their thing, and they came in and they got naked, and then they folded their clothes, they tucked them under the chair and everything,
Wow.
and it's cool to just to have that experience and share that with the audience too. And it's like, man, if you're gonna sit there in your birthday suit and I'm going to stand up here and perform, the least I can do is match her level,
Talk about
and it was a
vulnerability. I mean,
growth
that's yeah.
experience for sure.
Oh, I
Um,
bet. I was going to ask you like what's your sort of most like pivotal memory thus far or experience thus far in comedy? Would that be it, do you think, or is there something
oh
else?
man, it's one of them. I mean, some of them are those like kind of monumental moments, like where you get to do a show with somebody who you like truly admire. Like I got the benefit. They're all bar shows, but I got the benefit to be on some amazing shows with some amazing performers like Ben Kronberg and Sam Talent and Dave Borey and
Oh
Amy
wow.
Miller, and a lot of times I was just a drop in, or I was an afterthought, but it was so fun to see these people perform at like the highest level, and
Yeah.
bar with with people who I perform out with mics at like every other night, and other shows all around town and stuff like that. And then some of those people are going on to do bigger and better things, like
That's great.
Sammy Anzer and Darius Dankins are two people I perform with back in Denver who are doing really great things right now, and it's just so cool to see, and it's so amazing to see the hard work and dedication like pay off for people that you truly appreciate. And my friend Ren Q actually follows your channel, and he's doing really, really, really cool things. I actually
Oh
got the
yeah.
chance to see him perform here in Cambridge for they're doing like I think it's only Ren really. I think Ren is spearheading. He's spearheading this all trans comedy tour, all 50 states called Here to P. And it's so cool to see. They've already been to 30 states. They're going to 20 more, and I think it's so rad to
Yeah.
kind of protest in that way with comedy.
Oh, 100%.
And
Yeah.
to go to the
Especially
states where
now.
people need it most. They need that representation. They need to see themselves somewhere, and it's cool for
Yeah.
that. But even here in Boston and Cambridge, where people are so um, we're so open-minded, generally speaking, there's a lot of people who aren't, and there's a lot of people who are real vocal that they aren't, and it's real cool. It's real cool to see that, and to see that appreciated, to see the venues accepting of people as people,
Yeah.
and telling their
As they
stories,
should.
and to see local performers here, and to see local performers from Colorado all over the country just slaying in front of these crowds, and to see how
Yeah.
good people are doing in New York too, that came up from Colorado, and it's just so rad, and I'm just so happy. And it's cool to see, and I love making people happy, and I love seeing people be happy, and bring joy to others, and to share my experiences and be self-deprecating, like you said. And it starts
I
here. You can only,
yeah.
if you're punching up, eventually you're gonna hit yourself. uh,
Yeah.
so
I think that's so great to hear, and it reminds me of just like like being in bands and the music scene. I don't know if it's like that anymore, but so much of the
oh,
time
for sure.
it can be competitive too, though. And it's not it's discouraging, but I don't know. It seems like comedy, now, and I don't know what it is, but it seems like a lot more comics like kind of stick together and help each other out. I think that's part of the culture in comedy more
Oh,
so, at
totally.
least from what I see. And like, listening to podcasts, listening to Mark Maron, listening to like Smartless and people talk to, I don't know, there's a real camaraderie, which I think is really cool. And yeah, taking that camaraderie, with, kind of combining it with, this acceptance factor and open mindedness, which I think is so important. Because yes, there is weird, fucking opposition and just ignorance and all that shit. So no, I think that's really positive. I love to hear it.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and I think this whole like broy moment in comedy will kind of subside a little bit, and we'll start to
like,
see more unique voices come out, and I think it'll be really cool.
well, Dane
Um,
Cook has gone. He's. I think that the Dane Cooks and like the super macho. I mean, I don't know. That's just so old. But no, that's just it's great to hear that. And I one thing I wanted to mention too is that you sort of slyly, sort of casually do you bring in like kind of problematic things like racism.
oh yeah,
One of the things, and the way that you do it is, I think, really sort of like effective. And obviously, like we live in a very like woke sort of society with in conjunction with just really shitty people
oh yeah.
that kind of do the opposite of that for their own benefit. But you talking about racism in a comedic setting, like in a way that doesn't seem woke, and kind of like I don't know, I think the way you do it is great, and I think that like being kind of I don't know, I wanted to ask you, maybe this could be the last question. Do you kind of
Sure.
see um, comedians moving away from a safe comedy and kind of going more towards like silly and like poking fun at things like I don't know, like being binary or being like gay or like a minority. I feel like people now there's a comfort level with it that maybe didn't exist a couple of years ago, and I think that maybe that's because it's sort of like it can be cathartic. Do you find that?
I think so. I think it's good to poke fun at everything,
Yeah. Like,
and
can we do that
I am a
now? Like,
staunch anti-racist. Like I think, and part
yeah,
of that is doing the work. And I think a
yeah,
lot of people like to pretend that they're anti-racist and they haven't done the work. And I think
yeah,
that's a step in the right direction. I'd like to see a lot more of that these days instead of people either pretending or actually being racist.
yeah,
Um, so I love making fun of that. I love being like, hey, that's I've always viewed it as kind of ignorant, and I don't think it's a very open-minded thing to do. and I think it's just a symptom of everything else going on where people are just being pinned against each other and everything. And it's like we need to work together because like there's a lot more of us, making less than six figures than there are people making more. And I hope to be a six-figure guy someday, obviously, and that would be great. But I'm happy, and that's what's important. And I think as long as you continue to be happy, and treat others with respect and dignity, and I always come from there first. I'm like, show me a reason not to respect you, and then, like
Yeah.
through your actions first, before I'll usually act negatively towards somebody. And I think a lot of that is just growing up too. Like I was a very closed-minded person. I was nerdy and I was very anti-drug and I was very anti-alcohol until a certain age, and then
I was too. I
um,
was the same way in like high school. And
and I
yeah.
feel like I was just very standoffish towards those sort of things and very closed-minded. And
Mhm.
and now as an adult, and especially with Crohn's, like, and I've talked about doing a weed show. Like THC has helped me with my Crohn's,
I was
and
going to
I never
ask
would
that.
have,
Yeah.
actually smoked until my dad sat me down one day and was like, "Hey, I've heard it helps. I think it would
Wow.
be a good idea." I was 30, I was 30 years old. I had never smoked weed before. And I was like, yeah, I've had friends that have smoked since I was 13. I've been around it. It's not like I didn't have opportunities, and then I partook, and it didn't necessarily cure the pain of Crohn's, but it helped me deal with it. And it helped me
Yeah.
deal with it in a way that I didn't have to take like six or seven different medications to feel fine. I could pivot away from the uncomfortability, and I think the relaxation and the lack of stress that it helped bring on helped me with my system and with my energy, and it helped me mentally in a lot of ways, just process things.
Yeah.
And it was a journey, and part of that was finding sobriety after that as well,
Yeah.
through from alcohol. And I do feel like more of like Colorado sober, in that respect. Like I'll
Yeah.
partake in some psilocybin now and again and some THC, but ultimately, I do it sparingly, and I don't let it affect my daily life, and I don't let it affect my relationships, and I want to cultivate a sense of joy and a sense of open-mindedness and thought, that goes into these things, and forethought and kind of like setting and things of that nature. Um,
Has there ever been a time at like when you're performing, when you were doing stand up, that you had an experience with someone that reacted to something you said in a positive way, that you like, affected in a sort of influential way, or made them feel better about something that they were dealing with? Because I feel like comedy is that, music is that, film is that, and that's why I gravitate toward all of that stuff. I imagine that that's maybe part of why you do it, as
oh,
well.
100%. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, another big thing for me, like the Crohn's piece, like people come up and they're like, I have IBS, like I have Crohn's, I have colitis, I have some other GI issue, and I totally
Yeah.
sympathize. Or I use, THC to help cope with my chronic pain for fibromyalgia or whatever. Things like that are really cool to really connect with people on a real human level.
Mhm.
Um, but also, I was a very avid protester. I got out and protested, and it was something that I cared about as a youth. Growing up here in Boston, protesting is how our country started. You know what I mean? So it was a foundational belief of mine. And in protesting in Denver in 2020, I was attacked, I was beat up, and I was
Yeah.
hospitalized and
I'm
falsely
sorry.
arrested, and I had to fight a case and everything. Um, and that's happening right now. It's happening to a lot of people, but I feel
Yeah.
like it took away my voice in a lot of ways. And I had dabbled. I dipped my toes in stand up comedy before that, and I had really had forethought to really jump headfirst in at some point, and I hadn't done it, and I'd been, really reluctant. But that happening to me, and then recovering from that, and I felt like I had this cool story, and I wanted to take it to the stage, and I have tried, and it's hard to dive into that type of trauma without just careening down a rabbit hole of of simply just going anti-cop, which is usually where I'll go with it, and ACAB all day for sure, because they hurt me and they hurt a lot of people, and they hurt a lot of people, which is what brought me out there to protest in the first place. I was holding up a skateboard that said end racism. And apparently that was enough to get pushed in front of a moving vehicle and then shoved to the sidewalk, uh,
Jesus. Yeah, that's
and covered in pepper spray. And then literally 12 officers were involved in pig piling on top of me, a literal pig pile. and, uh, and they took
it's
3 days for me
bullying
to
is what
actually
it is.
get. Yeah, 100%. And that's all it is. It's just a legal form of
Tough
bullying
guy,
and
tough
tough
guy.
guy stuff. They were literally driving around the streets of Denver in 2020, just shooting people from the car with the paintball guns, with base. Shooting into other cars, shooting people on the sidewalk that were holding protest signs. And they're still doing it. They're doing it all over and everything. And
Yeah,
it's something that unfortunately this administration is encouraging, and people that are part of this symptom or this problem are definitely partaking in. And it's
yeah,
something
among other
I want to
things.
continue to speak out against, and I want to bring to the stage in a funny way, like you said, with how I talk about racism and things like that. And it's acknowledging my own privilege too. And I was very privileged to survive, and I was very privileged to be able to fight legally, and for my family to help me get through that process. And I don't know if I'd be here today without them, and I don't know if I'd be here today without that support, and I don't know, and my wife's family for going through that with me while I lived in Denver. Like they were there for me, and they and I'll always be grateful, and I'll always be grateful for everybody in my life, and especially those protesters that I was out there with. I was out there that whole summer, and and I saw some crazy things, and I definitely have PTSD because of it. That was not the first time I was beat up by the cops. That was just the time they arrested me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And or felt mace that summer.
geez.
Or tear gas for that matter.
Yeah,
So these things shouldn't be used on a peaceful population,
yeah.
or
No,
taken to that place from a peaceful stance to escalate, to constantly escalate, is just bad. And there's a lot of work that's been done. They've paid so many people for the egregious things that they've done, and I don't see the justice in that for anybody. But I'm glad that the people are being taken care of that were hurt the most, hopefully, and I hope that more people are taken care of, because there's some bad things, and I'm sorry to get so intense, but this is
no.
my
It's
past, and it's something that I thought might come up, especially talking to anybody for an hour. Sometimes it does.
no, no, no. Of course, I appreciate it. I mean, it's a privilege to be able to kind of learn this much about somebody, especially somebody that I admire. So no, thank you for sharing all of that, and I absolutely agree with you. And I think that we have the same sort of view on things. The whole time, I was sort of thinking about, and I think I forget this, but it seems like we're sort of at a point now where comedians openly talk about their own trauma.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
like,
that's a big thing for me too.
yeah, and like Mark Maron, his new special, he kind
So
of dives
good.
into it a little bit. Yeah, it really is. And I sort of, I did kind of belly laugh at a few things, but between him and then the last Mike Birbiglia special on Netflix.
I love him. He's one of my favorites. Like early on, I just saw
Yeah.
like his unique style, and I would buy his shirts. I had like a Jack and Irma's Magic Phone shirt, and I bought my friend a like little bit gay one with the measuring cup with the rainbow in it,
Oh, that's amazing.
uh, and it was just he's just got such a unique perspective, and I love his storytelling shows and his one man
Yeah.
shows, and what he did with Don't Think Twice is so cool.
Yeah,
And he's definitely a
sleepwalk with me.
podcast that I've gravitated towards more, especially now that
Same.
Aaron's going away.
Yeah.
And I was
No,
hoping
his
we could
podcast
talk
is
a little
great.
bit about podcasts, especially because this is essentially a live podcast. I love what you're doing. This is so cool. We need more live events, like you said with the Mulaney piece. Like I think more live
Yeah.
events like this are cool. Whether or not people are actually tuning in right now, I think it's good to be in
Yeah.
the moment and to cultivate that. And I loved appointment television as a kid. It really, like, the family around the TV. I feel like you don't get that. Everybody's like, "Oh, you watch this without me," because everybody wants to like breeze through something, and it's hard to
Yeah.
really sit down and coordinate watching something together. And
Well, that's
um,
it. I mean, talk shows were such a big part of my
talk shows,
upbringing
yeah, me
as a
too.
kid. Yeah, I mean, what even, I have no shame in saying this, but Live with Regis and Kelly, I would watch with my mom every morning. Then I was
That's so cool.
obsessed with Rosie O'Donnell's show. I used to stay home in high school to watch that show. Even like the fucking View, like
Yeah,
there's something
just
about
daytime
people.
television.
There's something
Yeah.
about people talking to each other in a way that doesn't seem polished. I mean, I,
The long format, the long show run, and the like time that they had to be able to expand on some of these things and just kind of see where things took them. And
yeah,
that's what this conversation is really like. It's the whole unique conversation piece, like genuine conversations, and that's really what gravitated me towards Marin early on too.
yeah, pioneer,
And
really, yeah.
I was a Nerdist guy. I was like a diehard Nerdist, like early podcasting,
Oh,
and then
yeah. Wow.
they had this like fake beef or whatever, like this fun little thing where they go back and forth with Marin, and then that actually introduced me to Marin, and then I was like, oh, I'm on the Marin train too,
Yeah.
and I'm really glad to see that he's still around. And honestly, like other podcasts are kind of having people sit in for them. I'm kind of curious if he could pass off WTF to somebody else. I know it's so much him, but I feel
Yeah.
like it would be cool to see that same format with somebody else, maybe his same producer. I don't know how that would work.
Who
I
gets,
doubt it'll happen,
yeah.
but it would. I'd throw my hat in the ring,
I
but
mean,
obviously I'm not qualified. But
he has the utmost, upper crust, upper echelon, A-list guests, probably
oh
more
my god, he
more
could
so
get
than
somebody
anyone.
somebody amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
and then
think
to
that it,
continue that momentum would be crazy. But
yeah,
who
no, it
knows?
would. Yeah, no, I never really thought about that. I do wonder that now. I would imagine, he's getting more into film. I know that he has a film coming out where he's starring in it. He is a good actor. And back to Conan, that's another thing that I used to love is when comedians, I forgot the term for it, but when comedians would sit down with the host and do their bit in conversation as opposed to doing it stand up.
Yeah,
And he used to do that. Louis C.K. used to do that.
yeah, you do
And
that a lot.
it was my favorite thing. And that was my introduction to Mark Maron. And I remember seeing Mark Maron at the Comedy Cellar, and I was like geeking out, at like, I was like 20 years old or something. And
No
to see
way, that's
it,
so cool.
it's
I've just
wild.
seen him
And
here at theaters and stuff, and
I,
that's great.
yeah, and just to kind of be a spectator of his, enormous trajectory of success has been like wild. And Mike Birbiglia too, like all these guys, like Aziz Ansari. And that's why I think, to be able to go out there and grind it and do what you do and probably have some like tough nights and, but go through it and be married and be supported by your family and, and still do it. I think that takes a lot of, for lack of a better term, balls to do. And I have a huge amount of admiration for it. I really do. And I kind of hate myself for not being in a band sometimes and not doing that and not, being afraid to do it. Because I think the older you get, the more afraid you can be and the more self-conscious. Even though
Oh
I
yeah.
think, you're probably more self-aware now than you ever were in your life, but there's like a more to lose factor. Do you feel that, or are you scared of that? Are you scared of failure?
I think I don't think so because I feel like failure for me would be going back to drinking. You know what I mean?
Well said.
And
Yeah.
and I'm not going to do that. And even if I did, I'd try to have a much healthier relationship than I did. But I don't see that in my future. I'm happy where I'm at. And part of that is just drinking seltzer. I know you're a seltzer guy too.
I
Like
am. Yeah. Is
just
that
cracking the
Trader
cans,
Joe's?
you get that
Yeah. What?
same kind of urge. No, this is a Polar. It's a local
Oh, yeah.
brand out of
Oh,
Worcester.
we
But
polar. Oh, we
oh,
do.
I love Polar. Yeah,
We've
I
got
go I go
polar.
hard for Polar.
My
But
daughter has the kid polars, the little skinny ones. Have you seen those? Like pixie
they're so
dust, and
cute. Yeah,
they're delicious
yeah.
too. They're really good.
Mermaid whispers or whatever, werewolf
Yeah,
tears. I don't know.
Yeti tears or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeti
no, those are
Yeti
good.
mischief. I like that
Yeti
one. That's a
mischief.
cool name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you buy those?
I
I like it. Yeah.
I do love cryptids. I live in Quincy, Mass. I call myself a Quincy Quatch. I'm walking around in green all the time. I feel like people are taking pictures from their cars. They're driving by. It's all blurry. Uh,
That's that's great. Yeah, no. But back to what you were saying about, you know going back to drinking would be failure, and you know
yeah,
I part of my new life. I'm 3 years in. Well, now close to 4 years, and part of my new life, I started running avidly, and I really, I've run marathons. I've done not to, I always would say that people run just to tell people about it. And I still kind of feel like that because us runners love talking about running and telling you what fucking races we have. But
Yeah.
I have a, if I don't, I'm going to say, I'm going to go for a run. And if I don't run, I have a fear of reverting back to my drinking self. And I equate it to that. And that to me is failure. So you saying that is, I can relate to that.
Yeah, yeah. Take the time, do the run. I think it's that
Yeah.
high, right?
Yeah.
You're
Hot sauce
getting
too.
that gratification that you got from drinking in a different way that's actually healthy for you. And I feel like
Yeah.
you get that from hot sauce, to tie it all
Yeah.
back. Like you get that kind of runner's high from hot sauce. It's like a whole different feeling. It's probably adrenaline more than anything, and
Yeah. Fear, adrenaline.
fear, adrenaline,
It's, yeah, no, it's
whatever
all,
that like
Indoor, I
system
think it's indoor. I think
endocrine system thing.
there's endorphins or something. I don't know. Like there's
Oh
something
yeah.
that comes about, dopamine. Maybe I don't know all that fun stuff. I mean, we look at Instagram for dopamine too. Guilty of that. But no, it's intoxicating. Running,
It's
hot sauce, all
intoxicating.
that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I hate that word. It's so fucking cheesy, but it's true. Um, I so this is the season one finale.
I'm
It's
so
like.
honored. Oh my
No,
God. I'm
no,
so honored to
and
be even on this, much less the season finale. That's so cool.
yeah, that's very kind of you. But no, it's funny because you think finale, it's like, oh, it's fun, there's confetti, but honestly, this is a finale because this has been probably the most like deep, intuitive conversation that I've had thus far, and
Wow.
effortless too. And it means a lot to me to be able to talk openly about certain things and sobriety. Not that I haven't done it before, but
Dude.
I feel like we relate to each other in a really nice way, and it's been really really fun and special.
Yeah, I feel that too. And I feel like this could be the beginning of like a really nice friendship.
I
And
agree.
and I'd love to keep in touch and
Yeah,
uh maybe be back someday. That'd be cool. But also talk outside of here and
yeah,
explore these conversations even more and deeper if you'd like. And I love that. I love the ability for human connection and to meet somebody that you share this foundational thing with. That actually we share so much more, and that's so
yeah.
cool. And it's just the nature of people. And once you get to know somebody, what that can unlock, and that's really
Well,
neat. And I
it's
appreciate you and appreciate the ability to have these conversations. So thank
well,
you,
it's
thank you
it's
so much, Michael.
thank you for doing this, CJ. It's definitive of why I'm doing it. So I really appreciate it. The honor is mutual. So no, thank you so much for taking the time to do this weird thing. And do you have anything upcoming that you want to talk about? This will be posted to YouTube too. I started doing that because I feel like I need to. But do you have anything that you want
No, I
to
love
plug?
that.
Or, yeah,
Yeah, post it everywhere.
yeah,
Cut it into clips, do whatever. I'm so bad at that. Like, I've
I am
tried
too.
so hard to like film
Yeah,
clips, and like you've probably seen the videos that I had. That was like the best I got out there. But some of it's old stuff. I don't like a lot of it anymore either. But it's just one of those things. You're always like growing and evolving and changing and putting it out there and what vibes with you at that moment. But
yeah.
it's so cool, and I appreciate your style and what you've done so far, and the people you're
Thank
talking
you.
to, and it's really cool to just bond over hot sauce and life, and
Yeah, you hit the nail
be a
on the
heat
head there.
seeker.
You, the heat is more than just hot sauce. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, it
no,
is.
but you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, a lot of people don't really understand what I'm trying to do, but the hot sauce is really, for lack of a better term, like a catalyst into something a bit bigger. And this has been sort of bigger, and very meaningful. And I appreciate you for being so candid about your life and your approach to everything. This has been really nice. Thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you. And yeah, I don't have anything right now to plug, but if people want to book me on things, hit me up. I'm
Let's get you
available. I'm
here.
down. Yeah,
Come to
I'd love
there's a
to. I'd love to do one
there's
of those fests too.
Well, that's what I wanted to say too, and for anybody who's watching this, my plan for the next maybe year, I really want to plan my own version of a hot sauce festival, and I'd love to incorporate comedians and bands into it. And if I do that, I absolutely would love for you to do it. And we'll talk, and I'll keep you posted. But that's something that I have in mind, and I want to eventually kind of bring that to a live thing.
That would be
So
amazing. Yeah, that sounds so cool. And if there is one thing I'll plug, it's my mom's crystal shop that I brought up earlier. Cast a Stone,
yes,
castastone.com. If you need crystals, if you need other witchy things, they sell all kinds of fun stuff. They've been selling you know, like plushies and things. They sell all kinds of, it's like a gift shop in Abington here in Massachusetts, but they also have an online shop and they do a lot of cool stuff.
I want to
And I
go.
love my
I
family and I
honestly,
want to see them succeed. My sister works for my mom. My uncle works for my mom. It's a family business truly.
it's
And they help
incredible.
people. They do their best, and they're trying to get people these things at the lowest possible price they can sell them for, and instead of trying to hawk it up like crazy because of the market or whatever. And it's what they just truly believe in. What my mom truly has believed in since I was in high school. She started this business online, and now they have a physical store. It's real cool.
Do they have an Instagram page?
Yeah, it's at Cast of Stone. They're Cast of Stone
Okay,
everywhere. They've
excellent.
been on the internet since early. They caught on. They got on board pretty quick and cool.
Oh,
And I
that's
just
great.
really I love my family and I want to see them succeed in every way and I'm hoping I can do bigger and better things in comedy, but I'm even just happy just making anybody laugh at any point in time and I'm happy to bring that joy and genuine authentic nature to everything I do.
Well, CJ, you are a gem, my friend, and this was
You too.
awesome.
Oh my god.
Thank you,
Thank you
thank you.
again
No,
and thanks for having me on for so long for such a great storied chat. Thanks again, Michael.
I
I
couldn't
really
stop it.
appreciate it.
No, no, thanks so much, CJ, and we'll talk soon. And
Awesome.
yeah, let's get you in Connecticut. We'll do it. We'll make it happen.
Hell yeah, I'm down. I'll make the drive. Have a great
Stress,
night. Thank you, Mike.
you too, man. All right, we'll see you.
Michael.